Hi everyone, very good afternoon to you. Welcome to Imola for the Ferrari Challenge TropheoPirelli race 1 of the weekend, about to get underway here at this fantastic circuit. As we can see the grid beginning to form in front of us. Taking a look from that camera angle, which is just out of the pit lane exit. And just about all the cars are on their way round to the grid, including that man, the LED extra car of Alex Martin. The all-black machine run by FF Corsa, Stratstone Ferrari, with a wheel missing. Just saw the front of that car, and there was a wheel missing. I'm sure I wasn't mistaken. Hopefully our cameras will be able to pick that up. Once again, it looked like the front left-hand wheel was missing, and Alex was dragging it round on the disc. Just taking a look down the... and here it is, into the pit lane now. Well, what drama for Alex Martin in the TropheoPirelli category. Losing a wheel on the outlap from the pit lane. Well, we saw that car going into the pit lane, and from our vantage point in the comms booth, can't quite see all the way down there. Now, that will probably mean in the time allowed that he will have to potentially start from the pit lane. I'm just looking at the clock to see whether we're going to have time for him to get back out again and do another lap around the circuit and form on the grid. Team will have to do wonders in terms of putting a wheel on that car. You can see the safety car there, and our front row, which is made up of Sergei Chukhanov and Raphael Giannoni. Sergei Chukhanov second in the points, but only by 1 point. Daniel Mancinelli, who starts right at the back of the grid, leads the points at the moment. But here is Sergei Chukhanov then, who has got himself into the most perfect position to start this race with pole position. Lap time of 1:47.311. Enough to secure pole. There is Alessandro Vezzoni back down there on row 3 of the grid. Now, the grid is made up, of course, of all the TropheoPirelli drivers, but dependent upon their success in previous rounds, they do take grid penalties. And Sergei Chukhanov then goes down 1 place. So too does Robert Pergel. Down 3 is Dario Carzo, who's still in the championship hunt, is P3 in the points at the moment. Philippe Barron, well, he said publicly that he was going to focus on the World Finals that come up in Mugello in November. Thinks the championship is out of reach. And then right at the back of the grid is Daniel Mancinelli on the back row of the grid. Mancinelli most definitely in the points hunt and leads the points at the moment. Philippe Barron, we're on board with him. He is wearing our helmet camera. As we can see, Giacomo Strata there in the familiar blue and white colours. Final preparations there. Engineer talking to Giacomo Strata. And of course, as the Ferrari Challenge gets underway here at Imola, the European Le Mans Series continues in Paul Ricard with a great chance of success for Ferrari in the GTE class. Ram Racing's Johnny Molam and Matt Griffin currently holding the class lead. And in the GTC category, top 2 spots also occupied by Ferrari drivers. The SMP Racing trio of Babini, Ladijin and Schauter, and the AF Corsa trio of Rizzoli, Lorenzo Casse and Stefano Guy. And Stefano Guy was talking to us at Hockenheim and was thinking that if he could get away from Paul Ricard in time, he was going to be here to race potentially tomorrow in TropheoPirelli Race 2. Of course, he'd have to start from the back of the grid because he's not been able to put a qualifying time in, but we'll wait and see if Stefano Guy's helicopter gets him here in time. 5 minutes to start time. You can see that being held aloft by one of the marshals down here on the grid at Imola. Now, Sergei Chukhanov has, up until free practice yesterday, never raced this circuit before. unlike Daniel Mancinelli, who has a great experience at the top of the points of Imola and even from the back of the grid, will be hoping to maximize that experience and use it to full effect. So we'll be bringing you the grid in full in a moment, but we can see from Nico Spalak alongside me, who's eagle eyes down the pit lane. They're still working on Alex Martin's car. Just picked up on that camera that he was running around without a wheel on it. What a start. There, the Italicus colours of Dario Carzo. P3 in the points. Sadly, wasn't able to take part in race 2 at Hockenheim. He had an off during qualifying for race 2 at Hockenheim, and the car was irreparable. Team did sterling service in trying to get that car back in order and back out on grid again, including Dario himself working on that car, but it was all in vain. In the end, the amount of work to do on the front of his car that was damaged in qualifying was not enough to get him out for race number 2. So going down the grid, we continue then. Thumbs up there, which is nice to see. Final preparations for these drivers. So Raphael Giannoni and Sergei Chukhanov front row. Then it's Giacomo Strata and Robert Purgel. Robert Purgel, the most experienced driver in the Ferrari Challenge. And here comes the onboard lap
Eric
right
Chong
now.
from Hong Kong. I'm a Cooper Shell driver. I'm commenting on the
And it's
track.
Eric Chung, who's a busy man this weekend, that's taken us around.
And brake at 200, fourth gear.
So through Tamburello then.
Keep to the
See, he's
right,
got traffic ahead of him,
go straight,
which Eric
for
gets past.
The nerve, you brake around 80, and it's fourth gear. And,
Heads towards
the carrying speed to be fast.
Villeneuve now, the
Keep left,
chicane
and
that
then
is
third gear
Villeneuve.
and climb over the curb, and then go up for Tosa.
Then heads up
Third
towards
gear
Tosa.
And then go uphill again all the way. Fourth gear, fifth
So round
gear.
Tosa with Eric Chung at the wheel then.
For the Piratella.
Little kink just under the bridge.
Not too hard for
So we
fourth
head
gear.
towards Piratella. The left-hander.
And then
Takes a
fourth gear
little
again,
bit of curve
fifth
and then
is downhill.
lets the car run
For
wide
impact
to
around
the
50,
outside of
fourth gear,
10 and
jump
then
over the
down
curb.
to Aqua
And third gear,
Minarella.
wait a little bit, then full throttle uphill.
And then up next it
All the
is
way,
the
fourth gear, fifth
Variante
gear.
Alta, the next chicane
And,
on
for the chicane, brake at 100.
the circuit, turns
Use
14,
second gear,
15.
Jump over the curb.
There you can see down to
And
second
then,
gear, the
full
right-hand
throttle
side of
again.
your screen, giving you the
and fifth.
green icon as to where Eric
And
is
then six.
on the track
And
as we
then
head
start to
next
release the
towards
throttle after the
Ravazza.
bridge. And then brake hard for the Ravazza.
Heavy
Third
braking.
gear, jump over the curb again, and then full throttle, and just brake a little bit, and then third gear, and then full throttle again
And
for the
then
straight. Fourth,
Takes the run off
fifth,
and
to the
heads
left,
towards
and then go
the
to
start-finish line.
And you can the green area, and then go back to the right again near the wall, and full throttle
And
again,
crosses the line.
track, and then finish.
Thanks to Eric Chung very much for taking us on an onboard lap around this 4.9 kilometre circuit that is Imola. We're about to go racing here in the TropheoPirelli Ferrari Challenge. And my eyes are absolutely glued to the exit of the pit lane as the safety car goes off. The cars will follow. Indeed, we get the green flag now, and the Sergei Chukhanov is away on their formation lap, and the formation lap gets underway without Alex Martin. Now, whether the damage to the brake system, potentially also the suspension, was too great, who knows? So the graphics indicate that race 1 is about to get underway. And it gets underway without RP5 points. Alex Martin now. My vantage point here, you can't see this on camera. The car has just come to the end of the pit lane. Now, are they going to allow the car to start from the pit lane? I can see no reason why not. So Alex Martin then is going to be off the back of the grid rather than on row 3, because he's going to have to start from the pit lane. As he came out on the formation lap, he had a wheel missing. At some point, the wheel disappeared during the formation lap, not formation lap, warm-up lap, beg your pardon. But the team have done wonders in terms of getting that all sorted, and he is going to start from the pit lane. There, you can see it now. Well, not the start that Alex would have wanted. Saw him just moments before the start of this race. His normal cheerful demeanour. But there we can see the lights as we go on board once again. And there is in replay, and thanks to our director for bringing us that again, can see that he'd lost a wheel and the car just being taken around just on the brake disc there. Very slowly nursed back to the pit lane. On board with Philippe Barron then, the Octane 126 driver who wears our helmet camera. Philippe Barron then, who has said that his focus is on the World Finals in Mugello, not on the championship this year. Octane 126, new team into the championship for this year. Now, of course, Alex Martin missing. That plays into the hands of Dario Carzo. P3 in the points at the moment. There is the safety car. The race steward is happy. Indeed he is. Safety car peels off. It's down to the drivers now to grid up, as indeed they are. And it's the start-finish line that approaches. Everyone stays in their position until they cross the start-finish line. Then we're on and racing here at Imola in the Ferrari Challenge. There's the lights up in the top left-hand corner of your screen. And Chuganov gets away. Robert Purgel pushing for second place as well. But Raffaele Giannoni manages to put himself into that gap. So it's Chuganov from Giannoni. Philippe Barron on a charge already. So too Daniel Mancinelli. Mancinelli and Barron side by side. Chuganov leads from Giannoni. Then it's Purgel. And of course, starting from the pit lane was Alex Martin. Just focusing on the pictures that we had rather than on whether he got away from the pit lane okay. So it's certainly on the timing screen, so that would indicate that he did get away all right. So Chuganov now will be trying to put as much of a gap as he can between himself and Giannoni. Giannoni also with experience of the Imola circuit, and Chuganov with no experience. And the back of Chuganov's car just stepped out there a little bit. So Chuganov quickest through Sector 1 and Sector 2. No surprise there. Absolutely clear road in front of him. Bigger battles going on behind, though. Giacomo Strata leading a train of 4 or 5 cars. Dario Carzo right in the mix there. So too Philippe Barron and Daniel Mancinelli as they complete lap 1 here at Imola in this, the first of the TropheoPirelli races across the course of the weekend. Let's go on board once again behind Giacomo Strata with Alessandro Vezzoni. Now Dario Carzo just taking a look at Vezzoni there. Through the Villeneuve chicane they go, heading up towards Tozer now. Daniel Mancinelli right on the back of Philippe Barron, and Mancinelli and Barron there jostling. Dario Carzo ahead of them. Carzo knows how to defend, but of course he's trying to go forwards as well, and Mancinelli, who is leading the points but by 1. His lead is going to be eroded if the order stays the way it does at the moment. There we can see Giannoni there in replay just kicking up some dust as he took the curb and some grass. There's P1, Chukhanov there too, kicking up some dust. So Dario Carzo now having to defend. Dario Carzo currently P6, Barron P7, Mancinelli P8. So there is Chukhanov, this time not letting the back step out. There's Robert Purgel, Giacomo Strata, and Dario Carzo runs wide. But manages to tuck back in, but will Philippe Barron have the momentum now to put a move on Dario Carzo? So Barron and this Octane 126 team as they come off the Rivazza and on to the start-finish straight. This is where Barron could reel him in, maybe. And there you can see those cars virtually welded together as they head towards the Tamburello chicane. Is Barron going to dive up the inside? Is he close enough to do so? Well, Dario Carzo shuts the door quite firmly. So Carzo really defending. This is allowing Mancinelli to get ever closer to Philippe Barron as well. We're watching the battle for P6, P7 and P8 at the moment in the Ferrari Challenge, but it's a crucial battle in the points charge. Barron theoretically is superfluous in the points. He's already admitted that P4, which is where he is at the moment, he doesn't think he can go for the championship, but he wants the world final win. Of course, he wants to win every race he possibly can. Well, no surprises. Dario Carzo is being advised by race control that he's going to be given the black and white flag for non-respect of the track limits. Not the first time that's happened to Dario, it has to be said. So Barron and Mancinelli there. We're on board with Barron, and there we can see, well, to be fair, both Barron and Carzo outside the track limits. Certainly Carzo more so, but the white line is there, and basically the rules are two wheels over the white line is acceptable, 4 is unacceptable. Takes a lot of curb, and we can see just how Philippe Barron is undertaking this work in the cockpit of that 458. And now Mancinelli is as close as he's been to Barron. Carzo's got a bit of breathing space just for a moment there. Barron dives to try and defend the line. Mancinelli won't be able to go the long way round there. Through Tamburello they go. Then off the back of Tozer, and it's an uphill drag. Barron goes just a little bit wide, but not wide enough for Daniel Mancinelli to take advantage of it. Fastest lap came on lap 3 for Sergei Chukhanov, a 1:47.650. Mancinelli and Barron, well, Mancinelli 0.3 quicker last lap than Philippe Barron, and it shows in just how close he is to him. Well, a 1:47.650 is a full 0.5 quicker than Raffaele Giannoni in P2. That's why the margin between our race leader and P2 is 1.8 seconds. Here in replay then, it's the start. And that was where Giannoni nearly lost out in second place. There's Mancinelli and Barron battling hard, with the all-black Dario Carzo back end of his car ahead of them. There's Giacomo Strata, there's Vezzoni, and Daniel Mancinelli now taken to flash in the lights as Dario Carzo gets past Alessandro Vezzoni. Vezzoni with a problem. So there is Dario Carzo then. Vezzoni with a problem. So all of a sudden Dario Carzo finds himself in P5. So there we can see Vezzoni was on the right hand side there, and whether it's a mechanical failure or a puncture perhaps. So now Carzo finds himself elevated to P5. And it follows then that Barron and Mancinelli P6 and P7 now. Well, Mancinelli and Barron, both young stars in this. Dario Carzo, significantly older than those two, the pair of young whippersnappers behind him. Giacomo Strada ahead of Dario Carzo. Chukhanov now leading by some 3.4 seconds. And that's where Vezzoni then with a problem was passed by Carzo, Barron and Mancinelli, and retires the car off onto the gravel. There's P2, Raphael Giannoni. There's P3, Robert Purgel. P4, 5, 6 and 7 all come through on screen in front of you now. This is the Ferrari Challenge, TropheoPirelli. We're at Imola. And after Imola, it is just the Finale Mondiali to come at Vallelunga in November. And Barron now right alongside Dario Carzo. I'd have liked to have seen how that move was able to take place, but there's some panel rubbing between them. Now Carzo's got a better line here, but Barron may have the speed, but he can't scrub it off because Carzo was in the way. And Barron goes back and loses out to Mancinelli. So Dario Carzo there just holding on to it. And now Philip Barron trying to get alongside Daniel Mancinelli again. This is the battle for 5, 6 and 7. And there's a touch between Mancinelli and Barron. He's off, but gets back on again. Absolutely closer than close between these two. Now I wonder whether Barron may have a problem with that car now. It's Dario trying to hold it all together. So now it's as they were, except the positions between Barron and Mancinelli have been reversed. Well, that's where the real excitement has come. Black and white flag going to be shown to Philip Barron. Let's see this again. So Carzo ran really wide. That allowed Barron to get alongside. And then Carzo was just keeping his foot in, and he wasn't prepared to let Barron come past. That was where he went wide. This is where Barron got right alongside. Vezzoni's car on the grass to the right-hand side. That's where Barron and Mancinelli stuck. Now, it looked to me as if Barron didn't even see Mancinelli was there. Just went to take that turn, and there was a big lump of Ferrari 458 in the way. And that Ferrari 458 was the green, white, and red car of Daniel Mancinelli, car number 23, who is now in P6. P7, and you can see the rub marks down the side of the Octane 126 Philip Barron car. Well, whilst all that's going on, 3.5 seconds comfort is what Chukhanov has in the lead. So that's when Mancinelli and Barron got together. On board now once again with Philip Barron, who's wearing our helmet camera. Here empowering that 4,400cc 458 along the start-finish line. And the start-finish straight as they head up towards the Tamburello. There's P2, Raphael Giannoni, out on his own really. Got quite a margin over Robert Purgel. So Giannoni P2, way down the points order though, as the championship reaches its sharp end now. Just this round and the World Finals to come. Robert Purgel there in P3. This will be his best showing of the year if he manages to hold on to that. What have we got? 16.5 minutes of racing left to run, and this hot battle between Carzo, Mancinelli and Barron, well, that could run all the way to the wire, and blow me if Martin hasn't got another problem with the same side. Now that looks like the tyre has just exploded, because that is just the rim now. So Alex Martin, who on that same left-hand front corner lost a wheel on the outlap from the pits, now looks like he's had a tyre explode. Well, what a race he's not had, truthfully. So Alex Martin out, Bezzoni out. That leaves us with our 4.1 second race leader, Sergei Chukhanov, consistently lapping better than anybody else in the low 148s. Meantime, the battle between Carzo, Mancinelli and Barron has calmed down just for a moment, but you know that with only 15 minutes left to run in this race, it will liven up again as we see in replay Alex Martin's deflating front right-hand corner there as you look at it. You can see on the right-hand side of Mancinelli's car, the door mirror has been flicked right round. That, of course, in the panel rubbing incident with Philippe Barron. This is now beginning to just reel in Dario Carzo once again. Giacomo Strata, the blue and white car there in fourth place. So Carzo, P5 at the moment. Back we go to the helmet camera of Philippe Barron. Pushing that Octane 126 Ferrari 458 for all it is worth. Feisty young racer if ever there was one. Just saw him going through the Variante Alta chicane. There's Sergei Chukhanov now. What a fine lead he's built up, and this is going to elevate him to the very top of the points. The man with no experience of Imola until he arrived here earlier in the week. Chukhanov from Giannoni, and Chukhanov's advantage over that man, Raphael Giannoni, now is 5.1 seconds. Just see how the brake discs light up on Giannoni's car as he goes through the Tamburello chicane. Robert Purgel just in the back of your shot there. There, you can see, great there. Camera's picking up the fact that as the brakes are applied to that 458, so the brake discs absolutely light up with heat. There's Robert Purgel, who's heading for a potential podium here. I think I'm right in saying it, but the first time we've seen Robert Purgel on the podium in this season, 2013. Dario Carzo still having to defend from Daniel Mancinelli. So Carzo there in the black and red car. Then it's the young pretender Daniel Mancinelli right behind him. Giacomo Strata just ahead of Carzo. Last time round had something like a 5/10 margin over Dario Carzo, did Giacomo Strata there in P4 as Daniel Mancinelli continues his charge on Dario Carzo. Strata under pressure with Carzo, Mancinelli and Barron all edging. Potential overtaking moves. They're going to restart the battle between these three in the final 12 minutes of this race. That you can be assured, because they are now beginning to stack up behind Giacomo Strata now. There you can see them. Now with Carzo, Mancinelli and Barron all consistently quicker than Strata, it's inevitable that he's going to be involved in this battle. And Carzo just taking a look now. See some dust being kicked up there. So Carzo blocks a Mancinelli move. Mancinelli really is up his tailpipe now, isn't he? Now, Philip Barron would be wise probably to just hold station and let these three have their own battle and see if it all comes to grief, whether he's going to be able to pick up the pieces. So Carzo continuing to defend. And as Carzo has to defend against Mancinelli, that just plays into the hands a little bit of Giacomo Strata, who's able to get up the road. Just for, what is it, 4/10? That is the margin between Strata and Carzo. Oh, Dario Carzo's rear end stepped out there. Controlled it masterfully, though. And Philip Barron really slipping back now from this battle. Now, whether Philip Barron perhaps has a problem now. You can see there that the gap is really noticeable, where once Philip Barron was on the back of Daniel Mancinelli. There you can see the gap, and Barron is into the pit lane. Well done to my mate Nico, who pointed that out, and we can go on board with him now. Barron into the pit lane. Heading towards the Octane 126 garage. And now this battle hots up as Mancinelli gets right alongside Dario Carzo, or does he? No, Carzo is able to just pull ahead. And again, while these two fight, and there you can see Barron is actually out of the car. That car is retired from this race. You can see the Octane 126 team principal looking on. Disappointed with that. I just wonder whether perhaps that car was damaged just a little bit in the rubbing incident between himself and Mancinelli. Not apportioning any blame, it was just one of those racing things. Both of them racing very, very hard together. There then is Giacomo Strata in P4. Then it's Dario Carzo, P5. Dario taking a huge lump of curbs out. And then Mancinelli in P6. Where are we? 8.5 minutes left to run in this Ferrari TropheoPirelli race. We're live from Imola. Carzo runs a little bit wide once again. Mancinelli not really close enough to be able to do anything. Drag down the start-finish straight here. Strata crosses the line now, does Carzo and Mancinelli. Mancinelli taking a look once again as they head towards the Tamburello. Really lights up the brake discs. Does Mancinelli. Carzo really having to work hard in defence here. But to be fair, Mancinelli's going to have to try and find a way around him. Mancinelli, he'll see his lead at the top of the points. Lost after this race if it stays the way it is at the moment, because that man, Sergei Chukhanov, who was P2 in the points from Ferrari Ukraine going into this race, well, he was merely 1 point behind Daniel Mancinelli, and now he has some 6.1 second advantage over his P2 driver in this race, Raphael Giannoni. So the Ferrari Ukraine driver Sergei Chukhanov, out on his own in the lead of this race, has been untroubled from the start. We've lost Baron, we've lost Alex Martin, we've lost Alessandro Vezzoni. So off the Rivata comes Chukhanov. And he crosses the start-finish line now. Again, you can see his brake disc really lighting up. It's whilst it's cloudy and overcast, it's hot and humid here in Imola. And Mancinelli was going for a move on Dario Carzo as they crossed our commentary booth position. Our cameras will pick that up in a moment, I'm sure, but it looked like Mancinelli had got right alongside Dario Carzo. Indeed, he's got way past him. Now let's get a replay of that, because that started on the start-finish straight. But Carzo with a problem. Carzo's out. Well, Dario Carzo. Well, this really is advantageous for Daniel Mancinelli. Trying to claw as many points as he possibly can. So Dario Carzo, yet another one to fall by the wayside in this race at Imola. Now, I saw it as they passed our commentary booth that Mancinelli was right alongside Carzo. Would like to see that move in full, really, to try and ascertain what happened to Dario. Oh, Giacomo Strada, the back end of his car stepped out there. We've got just 5 minutes of racing left here at Imola in the first race of the Ferrari Challenge for the afternoon. Got a Copa Shell race to come a little bit later on. And then tomorrow, another 2 races, one for TropheoPirelli and one for Copa Shell. We're watching TropheoPirelli at the moment, and there. So when they cross my position, which is just about there in the commentary booth, whatever problem Carzo's got, it had started. Now, just looking at all 4 wheels, I can't see that he's got a puncture there. Well, someone that appears to be trouble-free at the moment is Sergei Chukhanov. Just under 6 seconds advantage he has over the P2 driver Raphael Giannoni, who in turn has another 6 seconds or so on P3, which is Robert Purgel. Be difficult to get all 3 of them in the same shot around the circuit, to be honest. So Sergei Chukhanov then came into this race P2 in the points. Supreme qualification, despite no experience of the Imola circuit at all. Sets the fastest lap on lap 3 and is hoping for another win in the Ferrari Challenge. As we have just 3.5 minutes left of racing. That's our P2 driver, Raphael Giannoni. Again, you can see as the tyres have degged across the course of the race. And now, just passing my commentary position, was Dario Carzo at full tilt. So Carzo's obviously got going again. And actually, the points he'll bag for P7 will be jolly useful to him. He can afford not to drop any points. Now, he's lost out on his P5 position, but if he can keep the car going to P7, at the checkered flag, then that will be wise. Chukhanov crosses the line now. There's Robert Purgel. Here is Raphael Giannoni, and the gap between Chukhanov and Giannoni, 8 seconds. Has Giannoni's got a problem now as Purgel goes past him. I thought just as they crossed the commentary booth position, Giannoni's car sounded really ropey. And, and Daniel Mancinelli's got a tyre issue for Mancinelli. Look at that, that's virtually, seemingly a complete Pirelli tyre just shed. Oh, what a race this has been for drama. Giannoni out on the right-hand side. Coming through now is D'Amato, and there, well, you can see lumps of rubber flying off that Mancinelli car. Well, all of a sudden, this is even better news for Chukhanov, whose points position is going to be, well, there you go. Let's go in with the Team Ukraine garage. Just trying to see if I can see Andrei Kruglik in there anywhere, who, of course, is part of the Team Ukraine setup and is racing in another series here at Imola across this weekend. But there's Giannoni with his sick car. Dario Carzo goes past the commentary booth once again, but very slowly. Now, to me, it looks like Giannoni, who's got his hand out the window saying, I'm coming in, we're on the last lap. There is Chukhanov then. Well, for a less than fulsome grid of cars, it's been an incredibly dramatic race in so many different ways. There is Carzo, who I said we saw on the start-finish line, and there is Sergei Chukhanov, who is going to take the win, barring any disaster. And with what has befallen a number of the drivers, you have to wonder whether that could happen, but it could. But let's hope not. Robert Purgel elevated up to P2. Sergei Chukhanov then from Ferrari Team Ukraine in the familiar blue and yellow colours of the Team Ukraine car is heading for the checkered flag here at Imola. He has driven faultlessly, bagged the car on pole position from Quali 1. He's never been to Imola before. And his first race at this circuit is going to net him a fine victory. Giacomo Strata. There's Daniel Mancinelli then. They're sending him out again, because of course he can bag some points. But now heading towards the checkered flag is Sergei Chukhanov. Well, he wins with a margin of some, well, probably 13 or 14 seconds over Robert Purgel. There's Robert Purgel to take P2. So Purgel crosses the line now, and the margin was 12 seconds. Out of the pit lane now comes Daniel Mancinelli, who's going to complete a lap to at least be in the points. There you can see him. Giacomo Strata on the podium as well. D'Amato is going to take P4. That's Renato D'Amato. There is Dario Carzo's literally crawling that car across the start-finish line. I think he's winding it over in gear on the starter motor. He's so slow in comparison to his normal race pace. But of course, Carzo's going to get P6. Wow, what a race. So many incidents. But that is our race winner, Sergei Chukhanov. And the Ferrari Team Ukraine driver, the Scuderia Prague driver of Robert Purgel, taking P2. And Giacomo Strata P3, and if my recollection is accurate, I think it's the first time that we'll have seen Pirgel on the podium this year, and possibly that too of Giacomo Strata. Maybe Giacomo Strata has had one podium. But Pirgel, certainly, this is going to be his first one. And Daniel Mancinelli there, after the tyre deflation, came into the pit lane, got another wheel on, gets out there and bags P5. Dario Carzo, obviously with a problem with his car, bags P6. Then Giannoni, Barron, Martin and Vezzoni retirers. So there, a shot from our camera back towards the exit of the pit lane. And as I mentioned before, for a relatively sparse Ferrari Challenge TropheoPirelli grid, nothing but drama throughout that race. Chukhanov, Pirgel, Strata, the 1, 2, 3. Fastest lap, 1:47.650. Now, interestingly, cars 23, Daniel Mancinelli, and car number 8, Dario Carzo, going to have to go up to see the stewards. As the cars make their way into the pit lane. There's Sergei Chukhanov. So yet more success for Ferrari Team Ukraine, and that's going to elevate Chukhanov to the very top of the points chart. He was only P2 by 1 point. Congratulated there by his father. And one of the old campaigners, if I may say that, in the Ferrari Challenge, Robert Pirgel. And Giacomo Strata, Forza Jack. Belts being undone for him. Okay, let's take a look at the highlights then of what a dramatic race. So then, as they headed towards the green flag, Alex Martin was going to have to start the race from the pit lane. We went on board with Philippe Barron there, as the first of all was Alessandro Vezzoni. On board with Vezzoni, you can see how they all came piling through, and Daniel Mancinelli closer than most. The charge was on from Philippe Barron and Dario Carzo throughout the race. Daniel Mancinelli in the mix constantly as well. Bold move around the outside from Philippe Barron, didn't play off, ended up going back one place. Daniel Mancinelli taking advantage. Then Mancinelli and Barron getting ever closer, causing Barron to go off the circuit. Sergei Chukhanov didn't have a problem. Giannoni at that stage didn't either. His tyres were wearing out, but at this point, Raphael Giannoni was in P2. Mancinelli had a tyre deflate. Virtually the entire tyre coming off and rolling off onto the grass. Chukhanov took the win from Robert Pirgel then. Giannoni's sick car letting go, enabling Giacomo Strata to take P3. So once again, we get back to our shot of the pit lane exit here at Imola. We're heading up to the podium very, very soon with Chukhanov, Pirgel and Strata aboard it. And Claire Fennell will be down there to find out exactly the reactions from our three podium placers, who probably, certainly from Giacomo Strata's point of view, can't believe their luck. So Chukhanov, Pirgel, Strata, D'Amato, Mancinelli and Carzo, as Team Ukraine look very happy indeed. As promised, podium to come. So it is going to be Pergel's first appearance on the podium in this season, but Strata's second, thanks to Nico alongside me, who reminds me that in race 2 at Bueno in the Czech Republic, Giacomo Strata was on the podium there. So podium is being readied then, as you can see, here at the Imola circuit. And there's Andrei Kruglik. Yeah, very happy. And the track announcer then announces the arrival of Sergei Chukhanov onto the podium. And Robert Pergel and Giacomo Strata sprints to the third step of the podium. And national anthem will play out. So the national anthem plays then for Sergei Chukhanov, really likeable young man who has come into this Ferrari challenge and enjoying every moment of it. So Sergei Chukhanov, Robert Pergel, and Giacomo Strata. Chukhanov, of course, also taking the Coppa Giovanni Young Driver Award also. As, well, he ain't really got enough hands to carry all those trophies, has he? As they all huddle together for the photographs. And then it'll be time for the bubbly to be burst open. So well done. Chukhanov taking the win from Pergel, Strata, D'Amato, Mancinelli, Calzo. Although both Mancinelli and Calzo got a report to the steward. We'll, of course, bring you up to speed with the Coppa Shell Race 2, whether any penalties will be applied. I don't know whether they will. Can't think so. So Sergei Chukhanov then goes right to the top of the Coppa Shell points chart, with one race here at Imola to be done, and 2 more races at Vallelunga as the championship rounds up at the beginning of November at the World Finals event in Mugello this year. So seeing some slow-mos of Chukhanov there. And down in the podium for us is Claire Fennell. Well, Claire clearly not able to hear us at the moment, but she's standing by with Sergei Chukhanov to have a conversation with him in a moment. So Chukhanov, Pergel, Strata, and here is Claire Fennell.
Sergei, congratulations. That's just what you needed for the championship.
Yeah, thank you. That was our plan, to do the race as fast as possible, to win the qualifying, the races, so we succeeded with it.
And did you know where Daniel Mancinelli, your championship contender, was in that place?
No, only now I know that he was 5th. So let's see what we can do tomorrow.
And you have an awful lot of supporters here. I saw in Sergei We Trust banners.
Yeah. That's my friends. Thanks to them.
And it is great for you now to be leading the championship.
Yeah.
Okay, great, fantastic. We will, Sergei needs to go and cool down now, I think. And we will welcome Robert Pergel, our 2nd place man. Robert, congratulations. A good race?
It was a very good race, unexpected podium for me, but I had a good race. Start. I was third, and then the guy before me, had engine problem, and I just kept the right times all the way through. So actually, well deserved second place. Yes.
It's a long time since we've seen you up here on the podium.
Yes. Actually, yes. I wanted to go to Copachel, but I'm afraid Andrea will not put me there now.
Okay, fantastic. We go to Giacomo. Giacomo, we'll start in Italian, but tell us about the race from your seat. The drivers were falling off in front of you.
I'm a very lucky driver because we had a lot of problems this year, but today very lucky. So we arrived third. It's not probably the right position for us, but we are happy to arrive third.
And at that point, at one point in the race, it didn't look like you were going to be anywhere near the podium.
No, absolutely. So it was very hard for me. I fight until the end, and I'm really happy for my race.
And good for the team as well.
Yeah, of course. We are very happy for my result.
And a few words in Italian for our Italian viewers.
Finalmente un po' di fortuna, insomma una stagione con un po' di problemini e oggi invece i problemi li hanno avuti gli altri, per cui ci siamo presi un podio che forse a noi sta un po' largo, ma ce lo prendiamo molto volentieri.
Grazie. Okay, and back to the commentators.
Thank you very much, Claire. Well, Sergei Chukhanov with not as much to say as he normally would. And as he said, lots of supporters here this weekend from the Ukraine. In Sergei we trust. And apologies if you found the syncing of our interviewee's lips just a little disconcerting. Clearly the batteries down there, podium side, not quite the strength to reach back to us here to the commentary booth and TV compound the other side of the circuit. But what a race. Dario Carzo and Daniel Mancinelli then being asked to go and see the stewards. They did finish in the points, and we will let you know if anything alters there. And both Nico and myself have been racking our brains trying to think of a reason why that could be the case, and I don't think it is going to be. But great to see Robert Purgel back up there on the podium. Been a long time coming for him, and as expected, he was utterly delighted with being back up there. As we see once again Sergei Chukhanov taking that checkered flag, we look back at the exit to the of the pit lane here at Imola, and remind you a little bit later today we'll bring you the first of the Copachel Ferrari Challenge races, then another 2 races from the Ferrari Challenge, one for TropheoPirelli and one for Copachel to come tomorrow as well. The Ferrari Challenge weekend here at Imola, as we give you just some of the shots from this weekend. Some of the imagery we're able to bring you then, proving just how entertaining the Ferrari Challenge is. Sometimes doesn't matter how many cars are on the grid because the racing is always close and hot. Excitement in the garages. Andre Lebed looking on with his young family. Andre Lebed will be out in the Copachel category shortly. They're just one of the many incidents that punctuated this race. Make sure you join us for Copachel a little bit later today.